couple of days. He's made some plays on defense. He is a wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball. He might be a guy that you try to plan for. Maybe get Tran out of the pocket, rolling and trying to make a play. They run enough as Mitchell gets back to the line of scrimmage. They run enough where play action could be a part of their offense to try to get down the field, and I haven't really even seen enough of that.
Well, they've tried it. They've tried to at least throw it twice, and that's more than what you thought, you were going to see, in this game. So you can't really say they didn't try to play action with it, but the question is, do they got the guys when they finally, let the chickens up in the house, go deep and make a play? And, so far, I haven't really seen that. Right. And this one, not so much of a great play, and hopefully that doesn't take a backwards bounce.
We are live in the studio at Lowco HQ alongside Max Araj. I am Wes Curran, and we are here to get you caught up on a busy week throughout the Low Country. We had a game that finished up in the afternoon. We have some games that have already wrapped up and have gone final. And we have a game over at the Shark Tank as the Maryville Sharks look to come from behind. This is an all Seahawks as they lead 24-9. Hilton's defense, a big story, forcing 3 big fumbles, including a scoop score by Thad Zarnecki. And then Zarnecki just went to the house in a long run, 46 yards, to make it 24-9. So Hilton Head is right on the doorstep of essentially clinching their first region championship. It's 2008. If they can steal this one, most likely, all they'll have is Alta County and Beaufort. So aside from those games, on the Seahawks can hold down this one and hold serve the rest of the way. They will be region champions, certainly far from over, but right now, it appears to be in control. And I will tell you what a tremendous effort by Mr. Zarnecki again, and that defense who has come in hungry and ready to go. Hilton is looking like the real deal.
And it's worked for them.
Yeah, he really is. It's not even just Zarnecki. It's that entire Hilton offense, the offensive line. It's just been a very good collective effort that they've put up, not even in just this game, but in every game so far that they've played this season, barring the James Island game. And even in that game, they played the best that they possibly could. It's just James Island was a much better team than they are, more talent than the Hilton has. But this team is dangerous, extremely dangerous. They're playing their best football yet, and I think they continue to keep going down this path. I think if you want, want to make a bet on Hilton, I would, because this team is just really, really strong right now.
Let's see.
And they're going to call it a catch.
Wow, a catch for Hilton Head right there. What a grab, 50-50 ball on the long pass from Ranishevsky. Goodness, I'll tell you what, we've talked a lot about Zarnecki, but man, here Ranishevsky has been absolutely set under center, and he has delivered clutch throw after clutch throw this year. Added such another dimensions of what this Hilton offense can do. My goodness, the Seahawks are looking really strong here at home. Another score would very likely put this one away. We are in the fourth quarter with about 7.5 to go. Seahawks are at 24-9, so another score here essentially will end the game. We could have it right here. They are inside the 10, or right there at the 10-yard line. The Hilton Head Seahawks coming to May River on a mission, and from that opening drive, the Seahawks a little bit better, and we have seen that continue throughout this game. I think this BJ Payne team has reached a level that we haven't seen over here in the Low Country. They are going to be in the postseason. They can continue to play at this high of a level, because right now they've been getting great defense from their front line over there. And then not just that, but the secondary has been playing at a high level, and then you just bring in an offense with not just a tremendous runner, but an improved offensive line. The guy that just has all the confidence in the world right now in your center, and that can do wonders for him and for his team. So Hilton Head on the precipice of a victory here at May River. We thank Javon Livingston. And how about Marcus Walsh on the call as well?
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, last minute addition for Javon Livingston. Marcus texted me about an hour before the game had started and let me know. Yeah, I'm going to be on the call tonight with Javon Livingston. How about a collaboration of BCTV, Buford Zone, and WHHI right there? That is a special combination.
And Justin Jarrett on the call for WSAV for
yeah, how about that? Loco Sports, WSAV collaboration.
Over here, the Seahawks look to punch it in, first down at the near 10-yard line there, and they will do so. Hilton Head may have just put the nail in the coffin. The Seahawks are going to add 6 more, go up 30-9, playing the PAT. And oh my goodness, this
nail in the
region
coffin.
Yeah,
nail in the coffin, and that nail is in the coffin and buried 6 feet under now. That is, I mean, this is a well-oiled machine in Hilton Head, and it is showing this just how well of an oiled machine this BJ team is. Yeah.
31-9, and it is certainly lights out for May River tonight on their home field as the Seahawks are going to go 3-0 in the region. Most importantly, take down the 3 toughest opponents back to back to back in Bluffton, Bishop England, and May River. And now all they got to do is really just win one more because they've beaten the 3 best teams. So all you need to do is win one more, and you're the champs because you win head to head and all those other situations. For some reason, the host is doing my screen, but I am hosting, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I believe we're all set in terms of the audio, but yeah, Hilton Head is right on the verge of making history here in 2025. What a year it has been for BJ Payne's squad. Just a one loss to James Island. It's a very good James Island team at that, but just a tremendous road performance by the Seahawks, and I think we're both surprised by the lopsided nature of this one. We have a bunch of other games we haven't gotten to because we've been so obsessed or just really into that Hilton Head game right now. But we have some finals, including a very happy one from Sea Pines earlier today that I got to go see. Hilton Head Prep Dolphins with the 17-14 win over St. John's Christian. A big day for Davis Cargill. The defense was able to make some big stops in that one, and then just the run game, the blocking I thought was really excellent. Didn't throw it too many times, but White Hart was still able to make some moves on the ground to move the ball towards the goal line. So he was very effective in his job, and just one that the Prep Dolphins needed to have, and they got it. St. John's Christian made it very interesting on I believe a fumble recovery for a score to make it a 3-point game, but then Hilton Prep got it back, and they salted away the rest of the clock thanks to that ground attack. So the Dolphins win it, and it looks like they have cemented their spot in the playoffs in 2A in their classification. So congrats to the Dolphins and Coach McFadden on a terrific win today. Some other scores that we have at our disposal, some more Region 6 4A scores. Bishop England up 10 last time we checked, 24-14 over Beaufort. So the Eagles looking to come from behind over there on the road. Bluffton 28, College County 12. Good fight by the Cougars in this game. I don't think anything would have expected that close to the scoreline between those two teams. So good effort to Colton, especially the offense that would score some points on this Bluffton side. Not the best results over in Battery or the Ocean side. 45-0 over Battery Creek. Not surprising there. Oceanside is a powerhouse. Hampton County with a 50-0 shutout over Barnwell. They are absolutely cruising. I don't they've given up a single point in that region so far as they blanked the War Horses of Barnwell 50-0. Lake Marion with the 14-12 halftime lead over Webridge. Still looking for a final there. If anyone has that one. Colleton Prep and you were at this one. Colleton Prep in the game that was resumed after a several-week delay. Prep CPA led 14-0. They held on and they won 28-14. So Colleton Prep looks to appear to have been they are the region champs in all likelihood as they take down BPA. So Colleton Prep, your likely region winners over there in 1A Skiza. Nice result for the Warhawks. Beaufort Academy, I believe, they score first in the resumption, made it interesting from what I saw, and then CPA was able to hold it down. This may have been the most shocking score of the evening so far. John Paul II, 47, Thomas Hayward, 7. Now, I will say that Tony O'Banner, from what I heard, may not have been playing. And so, obviously, that's an important factor in the scope of that game if there's no Tony O'Banner playing for Thomas Hayward. But, man, JP2 looking really good heading into the big one against Hilton Christian coming next week. And then we have a final that just came across from Patrick Henry. Not a good night for the Patriots. Calhoun Academy wins it 42-14.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's
been a rough year for the
tough year for Patrick Henry. But I do want to go back to that Colin Prep team has been absolutely outstanding this season, especially after that JP2 loss. I mean, they have been on an absolute tear. And I was talking with the coaching staff of Colin Prep after their win. And by the way, they are officially the Skiza 1A region champs, and they will hold a 1 seed in the playoffs more than likely. So great news for Colin Prep. But I was talking with the coaching staff, and I just said, I think we all, after that Thomas Hayward game, I think we all realized, oh, this Colin Prep team is serious, and they are dangerous, and they have continued to prove that throughout the season, and of course leading to a region title over Beaufort Academy. And this was a Colin Prep team that came close last year. I mean, they finished not far behind Beaufort Academy and Thomas Hayward for that region spot. I mean, they were in the mix for it at one point. But this year, a different story for them. They have been able to figure out how to improve as a team compared to last season. Cale Owens has been absolutely outstanding for this Colin Prep team, and I continue to be absolutely amazed and really impressed with how this Warhawks team has continued to improve as each week goes by. And they have a very difficult one next week against Dorchester Academy. That should be a really fun game next Friday. But and great win for Colin Prep and
potential state championship preview because those two teams are in they're in the opposite divisions, right?
Yes.
Opposite regions,
well, I wouldn't even, it's funny because I've thought about this. I wouldn't even put it past it to think of a potential state championship game between Colin Prep and Beaufort Academy. I mean, there's an absolute chance that those two teams could end up playing for a state title because they've both been pretty equally good against each other. It's just Beaufort Academy just wasn't able to get the job done tonight. But I think if these two teams played again and played a full game rather than two halves separated by 3 weeks, then I think we could be talking about a different kind of ball game. But hats off to Colin Prep, region champs in Skiza 1A, and I look forward to seeing the rest of their season.
Not sure why someone is shooting off fireworks outside my house, but okay. But there were definitely some fireworks from around the Lowco in terms of high school football that we have been talking about so far. Most notably, Hilton had a dominant display defensively. A big scoop and score early by Zarnecki. They've ridden that to a 31-9 lead. May River right now trying to add a score, but it is far too late for them to come back in this one. The Seahawks are about to improve to 3-0 in region play, and they will be, in all likelihood, the 6-4A champions as long as they hold serve against either College County or Beaufort, which seems very, very likely at this point. The proceedings, then we have a final score courtesy of our friend Hayden Jennings. JP2 with a 47-21 win over Thomas Hayward. So the Gold Warriors looking strong heading into a big matchup against the HHGA Eagles next week. And without Tony O'Banner, it was going to be difficult for Thomas Hayward to hang in with the JP2 team that's just playing some really strong football on both sides right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is what we've realized with Thomas Hayward. Without Tony O'Banner, they just aren't that same dangerous, very tough team to play. But I think in reality, I believe JP2, even with Tony O'Bannon playing, I still thought JP2 would win this game. And then the reason I think that is because I just think JP2 has more talent on both sides of the ball compared to Thomas Hayward. But I thought it would have been a much closer game if Tony had played, obviously. But with Tony out, I mean, this Thomas Hayward team, inconsistencies have been a key issue for them this season. One game they look great, the next game you never know what kind of Thomas Hayward team is going to show up, and that's been their biggest issue. And I think if they were a more consistent team, I think they would have been in the fight for a region title with Colleton Prep and Beaufort Academy. But that just wasn't the case this year. They're a younger team that, while being led by Tony O'Bannon, they just still missing a couple key players. But I think Thomas Hayward is definitely going to make the playoffs this year. I think they got a real good shot of making some chaos in the playoffs if they can go into those playoffs fully healthy. But this JP2 team is absolutely scary to watch at times, especially if you're a Hilton Head Christian Academy who will unfortunately have to play JP2 next week, a very hot, very dangerous JP2 team, and I think it's going to be a great game between those two next Friday.
That one should be a terrific matchup as well. May River down 31-15. They'll probably onside kick here and try to get back with very little time left. Excuse me. Going through the scores once again. For those who were just joining us, Bishop England 24, Beaufort 14, and that is in the fourth quarter. Bluffton, last we checked, 28-12 over Colleton County. It's another 6-4A game. Oceanside, Downing Battery Creek, 45-0. Hampton County, Roland Barnwell, 50-0. Another dominant region win for them. Lake Marion, 14-12. You're at halftime over Whale Branch. We are waiting the Ridgeland Bamberg Earhart score. Bamberg big favorites in that one. College and Prep 28-14 over Beaufort's Academy. JP2 47-21 over Thomas Hayward. Hilton Prep in the afternoon game 17-14 over St. John's Christian, and Calhoun Academy, as mentioned earlier, got the better of Patrick Henry in a 42-14 decision over there. A 42-14 final for the Cavaliers of Calhoun Academy as they down the Patrick Henry Patriots. And another final that just came in. Bishop England has taken down Beaufort 24-14. So tough one for Beaufort, but like I said, I expected Bishop England to be back at their high level of compete out there back at home. That's a tough place to play. We mentioned it last night. So.
Actually, the thing I would say about that is, if I'm Beaufort, I'm happy with how that result turned out. I think the 10-point game is extremely impressive for Beaufort, especially on the road on Daniel Island in Charleston area, which is always a difficult place to go play over at Bishop England. And we've talked about that before. And for them to only lose by 10 points, that's really impressive and shows that this Beaufort team is continuing to improve. But, I think it's a little too late for them to improve enough to be, a team that people are a little bit scared of playing right now. And their remaining schedule won't be so easy, especially because they still have to play Hilton Head High School. So that's going to be it's a good loss for Beaufort, I think. So I think if you look at all of it, I think that's the best game I think Beaufort's played this season is that 10-point loss to Bishop England.
I would agree. I think that right now, when you're looking at this Beaufort team, they got the slow start. They had a couple of nice wins at the end of non-conference play, but you just didn't think enough was there in terms of the offensive side. Once again, Bishop England showing why they were able to get it done defensively, but also Beaufort still just a couple more questions to answer. They don't have that electric playmaker like they've had in years past over there. So I think Bryce Slimer's doing a good job of what he has, but just losing Amari Patterson, losing a couple of other guys from years ago, they just have not found that go-to guy. And Isom's been decent. Isom has been a nice running back, but you just need a bit more of a dynamic offense, and I just don't think Beaufort has enough up front and just enough in terms of key skill guys. on that group this year. So Beaufort, another tough year for them. Maybe they could sneak in as an at-large, but who knows about that? It looks like it'll be your top four Hilton Head, and then it's looking like we get Bluffton May River to decide the 2 seed. Because although
which is going to be a huge.
Bluffton, I will say Bishop England Bluffton could throw a wrench into that next week. So don't because we'll see what happens. Right, because if Bluffton could knock out Bishop England, then those two teams are guaranteed to finish second and third. We'll see if Bishop England can beat Bluffton. That one should be interesting. It should be an even game, in my opinion. Next week,
it's an interesting game, and I think if you look at that game, as of now, I give the advantage to Bluffton just because it's a home game for Bluffton. I think Bishop England has not been great on the road this year at all, especially in region play, and that's clearly shown, obviously, with the 2 losses they've already had on the road at Hilton Head and at May River. So I think if you look at that game, it is a very intriguing game. But I do like Bluffton in that one, and of course we will be talking about it this coming week because that is actually quite an important game if Bluffton can get the win.
Other than Christian Academy JP2, that's the biggest game on the schedule coming up next week.
I
so
agree.
We'll definitely plan on making it to that one. I got to see Bishop England a couple of weeks ago at Hilton Head. I'm looking forward to seeing how they'll match up against Bluffton, which should be a fun and an important one for the Bobcats at this point of the season. But and it will be the same night that Hilton Head, because it looks like they will the injury timeout to just a few seconds left in that one. But Hilton Head on the verge of improving to 3-0. May River will fall to 2-1 in the region, so their first loss of region play. So Bluffton falling to Hilton Head earlier, but bouncing back with a couple of wins. So they will be over there at 2-1, and then Bishop England, they're still gonna have a say in it. They lost their first 2 against May River and Hilton Head, but that Bluffton game could loom large in terms of that race for third place. But Hilton Head, all they need to do is win next week at Colleton. They're the champs of Region 6 4A, which seems very close to automatic at this point just because of how good that Seahawks will been. So it could be a fun celebration a week from tonight as the Seahawks look to be celebrating their first region championship in quite a long time. It has been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while.
31-15, the Seahawks come into the Shark Tank and take down May River in a top 10 4A matchup. I mean, they didn't just take them down; they dominated. Defense was absolutely tremendous, and this Seahawks team, which we knew would be a contender again in this region, even with the couple of losses with Troy Timko, we knew Zarnecki would be back. We knew Risher would be there, but they have exceeded all expectations for what they have done so far this year, and they are on the verge of making history. This would be the first region championship for BJ Payne. He's been there since 2012. He has done yeoman's work throughout his time at the Nest, but this season in particular seems to be, I mean, it's no doubt it's his best team yet. It might be the best Hilton Head team that we have seen. And they're not to go back into the archives, but they had a couple of decent years before Payne, but this season it just seems like everything has come together. The defense is playing just an outstanding brand of football. You have a competent quarterback who's just making all the clutch throws, and you've got some guys who have been able to block for him, and other players who have come in and made important impacts. It's really been fantastic to watch, especially for a Seahawks alum. This has been very, very special to see this unfold, and the excitement that was there at the Nest, and the Bishop England win, that Bluffton game as well, even though it was rain heavy in that one. Had to be postponed for a bit that night. But man, the Seahawks team is looking like not just the class of this region, but they're looking like, in my opinion, a big time contender in the lower state right now.
Yeah, I agree. And the funniest thing is, we've talked about this before. I think this is what makes it even more special. Is this team has obviously dedicated their season to Joe Monmonier, who of course passed away
Yes,
before
absolutely.
the school year started, and I think that makes it
And
even
and
more
that adds
special.
another wrinkle to it because, how much did they have to go through with losing their athletic director and all the logistical manners and just all the emotion that
Yeah,
preceded what this season has been. And I meant to say this a couple weeks ago on the broadcast or one of our shows here. They've been wearing or stickers on their helmets.
yeah,
I
on the
think
back. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And so that
and,
is
and
that's a great gesture, and that is something that has really spurred this team along. And you're starting to see them really play this season for Coach Momonier and what he stood for. And man, you wish he could have been a part of this season and what the
yeah,
Seattle team is doing because I mean the Seahawks this squad is exemplifying all the qualities and factors of what made Joe Momonier a great coach, individual, and athletic director, and just a ton of pride to see what this team's accomplishing this year in honor of Coach Momonier.
yeah, absolutely. And I've said this already. This year is this Hilton Head team is the best, well-rounded team I have seen out of this region in some time. I mean, we've seen some
Yeah,
impressive teams over
obviously
the
being
years, but
for
I think
yeah,
this Hilton Head team is the most well-rounded team I have seen. They're dangerous on offense, dangerous on defense,
yeah.
pretty solid. I
Um,
mean, the one thing I noticed with the May River game tonight is they dominated in the trenches, and that is
yep.
so important. And the fact that you could dominate in the trenches against that running game that May River has is extremely impressive.
Indeed. Not sure what happened there, but yeah. Um, So yeah, Hilton Head with the tremendous win on the road. I expect to be a bit tighter, but the Seahawks, the defense was the big factor. The scoop and score early, and even that, May River did find some momentum afterwards with that kickoff return for a score, which was a great answer. But then Hilton Head just came right back at him, forced two more turnovers, gave him a short field. They scored again pretty easily, and then of course the big punch was landed by Zarnecki in that 46-yard run. And after that, you felt like it. By the way, maybe plays, and it's just they don't have the quick strike offense. They don't have the passing attack where if they get behind, they could be in trouble against a good team because they just don't have that explosive passing game that can get you back in those kinds of games. So if
Right.
May River falls behind by that significant total against a good team like that, it's a quite a mountain to come back from behind from. It's just that's the way they play. Now they're a great team in terms of just running the football and misdirection and all that when they're on their game. But Hilton Head's defense were just a little better and probably a lot better in terms of how they played with those three forced turnovers in the first half, which really end up being the big difference by the end of it, as you said, Kevin Libby. There you go. Defense, special teams were huge. Three fumbles. When you play on the ground three times, you don't win that game very often. It seems like every time you
Right.
probably don't win that game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I look at it and I just say, I expected. I thought Hilton Head would get the win. I voted for May River last night, thinking they could get out a close win, but it was really the opposite of that. I just did not expect Hilton Head to dominate, especially in the trenches, the way they did on the defensive side of the ball. Being able to stop that May River running attack, that rushing attack has just been absolutely killer for a lot of teams this season. And it's just the way that they run the football, too. Very quick paced offense. So, which can make it very confusing for defenses. And, Hilton Head wasn't confused at all. I mean, they just absolutely dominated. They held them to, I think, in terms of, average yards per
yeah,
per down, I
yeah.
think this is
I
the
remember seeing
least
what
we have
the
seen
total
out
yards
of May
stat
River.
had to be for May River in terms of total yards or net yards because Hilton Head's defense was just on top of them early, and obviously their only score was special teams, or their only score before garbage time was special teams in that kickoff return. So, I mean, you just talk about total yards or yards allowed by Hilton Head. It must have been pretty low, just from what I saw of the game. I obviously don't have the stats in front of me, but Hilda's defense has really risen to another level. And we saw it against Bishop England, but against a Mayriver team that showed some good punch in that last game against Bishop England, Hilda shut them down. So this is looking like a formidable team as we get close to the playoffs, as they look to cement that region championship. 2 more games for them. They can clinch it with a win at Colleton County or a win on Halloween against Beaufort. By that time, I expect them to already have won the region championship as they play that last game against the Eagles. So, yeah, obviously, now you still have something to play for because of RPI. So you want to win out if possible, because it determines your 1 through 3 standing in the
we have the score update. West Kerr, from Colleton County. Bluffton wins 55-12 over Colleton County. Another win for the.
There you go. Bluffton 55. They poured it on late, but it was tight at one point, a couple points in that game. Because it was.
I'll be completely honest. I'm impressed with how Colleton County played in that first half.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they kind of shook Bluffton, but I think Bluffton figured out what they needed to do during halftime. They came out in the second half and got the job done and played like what we expected that game to go.
Yeah. I mean, Bluffton's offense, you knew they would wake up at some point against Colleton, and they were able to. But the Cougars have showed some good fight this year, and I think you have to be proud if you're Adam Kinlock of just how this team has fought in a couple of region games, most notably those last 2, where they compete against Beaufort, they compete against Mayriver as well. And I'm sure they'll give it their best against Hilton Head, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the Cougars, unfortunately. But tremendous fight. They've been more competitive in these games compared to last year, just my overall opinion. So that's good to see from them. As the Cougars look to improve that program, and they have been very competitive this year. That's exactly what you want to see. They're
on their way there. I mean, I don't expect it to be that many more seasons before Colleton County can be competitive in this region. I think they're on their way there, and they got the right coaching staff for it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I like Adam Kinlock. That was a good hire when they made it, and I think he's been doing some good work for there. So I think that there's a lot more exciting things in store for that program moving forward. But Bluffton gets the win that sets them up. So they're 2-1 in conference region play, and now they get a big one next week in Bishop England. And you took care of the ones that you needed to after that loss to Hilton Head. You beat Beaufort, you beat Colleton County, and now it gets tougher again. And I'm excited to see how they do against Bishop England. I think that one will be a real toss-up of a game. And I give Bluffton the slight edge at home, but Bishop England, after getting this win last week, revitalized them, I think, a bit. So I'm excited to see how Bishop England's defense does against Bluffton's offense. Can because both those units are pretty good at what they do. Excited to see who wins the battle, because Bluffton, a little bit of a letdown in terms of that first half performance in a mild sense, but they got it together in the second half. So, but I'm sure Hayden Gregory had, things to pick apart in their game. I'm sure he wished things could have gone a little better for them, but I mean, they're right there in the mix for that 2 seed in the region, and Bluffton wins in week 9. They'll set up a winner take all match for the 2 seed the day before Halloween on Thursday the 30th in week 10 in that matchup at the Den. So that will be the Bluffton Bowl to wrap up their regular seasons.
Yeah,
it should be very interesting.
It'll be very interesting. I'm gonna hop off for a few minutes. I just got home, and I will hop
no problem.
Back on in a few minutes with you.
Let's take that time to shout out some sponsors as we pull them up here on this week 8 edition of the Lowco Pigskin Live. We thank everyone for joining us here on this Friday evening. It's we finally got a nice weather evening or afternoon, because tell you what, we've got a ton of rain earlier in the year, so nice to have some good weather. But tonight's show is presented proudly by the Mickelson Law Firm, the original sponsor and all-star sponsor, locosports.com. They are our presenting sponsor of Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage and the official real estate closing attorney of Loco Sports. You'd call on them for all of your legal needs. And of course, WHHI TV are our great partners in local sports journalism, and the only television station that is devoted exclusively to covering everything in the Low Country. You can keep up the latest news on WHHI TV, and it's available through Spectrum and Hargray, or it's streaming online as well at WHHITV.com. They had a bye week, quote unquote, because there was no Friday night football game this week from them, but they'll be back at it next week with, of course, Marcus Walsh on the call, as they will get the Hilton Head Christian Academy and JP2 game next week, which should be a really good one. But we think Hilton Head Christian Academy, of course, as helping continue to ignite our sponsorship with Mickelson Law Firm. We thank Mickelson Law Firm, and we thank WHHI TV for all that they do. But another roundup through the scores that we have tonight. We have a good amount of the finals at this point, as we look to track down a couple more here throughout the Lowco. Max Araj should be joining us again shortly, and I believe JJ will as well after he finishes up his call on WSAV. But let's go through the scores one more time here, at least right now. Bishop England 24, Beaufort 14. That is a final. Bluffton 55, Colleton County 12. Hilton Head 31, Mirror 15. Another statement win from BJ Payne Seahawks as they improve to 3-0 in region play. Oceanside 45-0 over Battery Creek. Hampton County 50-0 over Barnwell. Lake Marion 14, Whale Branch 12. That's a halftime score. Still looking for the final score there. Colleton Prep 28, BA 14. So congrats to the Warhawks. It looks like they will be your region champs in 1A Skiza. JP2 47-21 over Thomas Hayward. That was semi-shocking, but then again, no Tony O'Banner in that one. Hilton Prep wins 17-14 in the Afternoon Delights in Sea Pines. Calhoun Academy 42, Patrick Henry 14 final. And then we're also looking for two more scores. Ridgeland at Bamberg Gerhardt and Cross Schools against Jefferson Davis. Those teams are all in action tonight or have just finished up. So still looking for those scores. But I guess going back to what we saw earlier today, Davidson grad Wardell, Steph Curry. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him come back to Charlotte and play for the Hornets. That is something that would be really cool to see, as someone who, he was a North Carolina kid. He, of course, went to Davidson, terrific career there, and that always was back in my mind. Maybe like a Michael Jordan Wizards kind of thing, where he plays a couple of games for Charlotte to end the year or end his career, then come back and retire a Warrior. Maybe we'll see. But he's definitely getting up there in terms of the end of his career. It's definitely a change of the guard in the NBA right now with LeBron and Curry and a bunch of the others who have really dominated the league last couple of years, last decade plus. They are on their way out. So I believe, just continuing to see names of NBA players who have recently retired, who have been mainstays for a while. So, definitely changing to the guard there. Other sports news. Congratulations to the Seattle Mariners. What a big time Game 5 win. Gino Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, but they call him Gino over there in Seattle. A grand slam, which is probably the biggest swing in Seattle Mariners franchise history, to break open that game against the Blue Jays. So they're able to take one at home Game 6 is Sunday in Toronto. But back to the local high school football scene. I was going to talk about the Hilton Head Prep game tonight, or earlier today, rather. As I was really impressed by what they were able to do, especially the ground game, and they were not dealt the best hand this year. You go back to that opener, which was a tough result against BA, although BA was the deserving winner of that game. I thought they could have played a bit better because they started off really well in that first quarter, and then things kind of went sideways after that. And then the next game against St. Andrews, I felt like that was the game where they really could have shown up a little better in that game. And now they only played a half. If they played a second half, it may have gone a lot differently because they were only down 2 scores, and they got the ball back, or they were going to get the ball back in the second half until that game was rained out. So you look at those first 2 games and you don't throw them out, but you kind of just look at, do they represent what Prep can do at the best level or complexion? Because you knew that Hilton Head Prep, with the ample time to grow as a team and to see more from your guys like a Davis Cargill, like a Brody Hauscher, they and others as well who we've talked about for a good amount in other sports like basketball. This program has had some lean years recently after Dave Adams left, and it's just great to see them get big wins. And I know it's St. John's Christian. It's not the biggest team in terms of, oh, this is an impressive win, but I will say that this was one they needed to happen just for the program and for the direction of what McFadden was doing for that team, because this was the game that pretty much guaranteed their spot in the playoffs. They needed to win this one, and it got a little tense in that second half because of yes, CPA, congratulations. We mentioned the Warhawks. They are your region champs, and they will be the 1 seed out of that half of the skis bracket. Big congratulations to Coach Langdale and the Warhawks. JB2 was a buzzsaw. How do I get that? I'm missing. Oh, the Wolfman is Alan Wolf. Okay, yeah. I didn't get that reference initially, but yeah. I guess he's mentioning Alan Wolf, the quarterback for JP2, who was terrific tonight. So he has had a tremendous season as well for the Golden Warriors, and Nabonet, their running back, has been great. Defense has shown up at times as well for JP2. On top of that, that's a nice win, even with a Tonio Banner depleted squad for Thomas Harris. They still got some athletes on that THA squad, even though Tonio Banner right now is he was inactive. From what I heard, he was inactive in this game. But yeah, nice win for JP2, and that game against Hilton Head Christian, really growing a lot more interesting now. At this point, I think it's a toss-up. You look at JP2, how well they've been playing. You just the last couple of weeks, what they did at Hilton Head Prep, it was a grinded out win, but their defense played very well, and opportunistic offense performances from them, and I'm quite impressed how they handled that game in a tough environment on the road. I don't care. Hilton Head Prep they've been getting better. They showed out today. JP2, they've done well on the road, and now they got that win versus Carleton Prep earlier. That's a quality win for them, and it's a sense that this JP2 team is going to be a tough out in the postseason. Now, this is a big game coming up in 3A football for them against Hilton Christian Gabby, and like I said, at this point, it's anyone's game. It's a toss-up. It looks like it's going to be Crest Langhouse at quarterback. Can the Eagles trust him to win a big game? They've had 2 weeks now, or they're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for that one. So you hope that Paduzzi's is going to get them ready. But man, the way this JP2 team is playing, I think it's going to break out really well for them. Of course, we'll make the pick next week, but right now it is looking like that is going to be quite the toss-up of the game. Blots an update, yes. Let's get the ticker back up here, and because a bunch of games that have gone final. There you go. Bluffton 55-12. Although it was tight very much earlier in that game. As I pull up the notes I got there for what has happened in that game. It was fairly tight. Colleton scored early and made it 7-6 Bluffton. And they kept them on their heels as this game went along. Ended up being 14-6 in the second after a touchdown for Bluffton. But you see Colleton just hanging around. They hung around this game until that second half where Bluffton was able to make the big adjustments, and then the offense started cooking as you thought they would. And eventually they pulled away as you would expect. But this was a nice performance there by Colleton on the road. But actually this game was at Colleton. But a nice performance by Bluffton. In that ball game, because this was a Bluffton team that they had a tough start of region play against Hilton Head. I don't think their defense was at their best level of showing there, and I feel like their defense can be a bit better, but at the same time, I thought they played at a decently high level. I think they've been better than we thought they would be, slightly. But what Bluffton was able to do today in that second half to make a couple adjustments and get back the way they're playing against the pesky Colleton County team that's going to hang in these games this year. I'm not worried about Bluffton right now, even though they were the preseason hype pick and they've kind of slowed down a bit as the series going along, as Max Araj comes back into the studio. Someone out there asking about Bluffton. Bluffton is still in 4. Yes, they are a 4A. Obviously, yes, they're a 4A football team. Some more pop culture references from Kevin Libby in the comment.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, before I was talking about Bluffton, before I was reading some of the comments, I was talking about Hilton Head Prep and how and what that win meant to them today, because it felt like there was a lot of good energy at Sea Pines today, and really from the start of the game, fans were into it. It was a hype atmosphere, and Hilton Head Prep showed up early in that game, and Dolphins it took some time for them to get the offense going, but once they did, a lot of Davis Cargill and Wyatt Harmer was able to make some plays as well. But I was very much impressed by the way the defense handled it and got a couple of important stops. It was a pretty fast-moving first half. Both teams only saw the ball like once in the opening quarter. A lot of running plays, as you would expect at that level of skis of football, and Hilton Prep had to make a couple of big stops, and it kind of got to a little tense there at a couple of moments. But props to the Dolphins for hanging in there, and again, a couple of big time plays from the guys that they need to show out in games like this. So for Hilton Prep, this was one that they desperately needed and one that they were able to get, and that's just a great thing to see from a program that they've had a couple of years where it was on rough tides because they had a limited number of guys in this program. There were a couple of players that were just trying to keep it afloat, and there were some moments where, is this program going to continue to survive the point where it can stay being at the level they are in that classification? And it's been cool to see what Doug McFadden has done in these last 2 years. You're really starting to see a lot of more improvements this year, but last year kind of helped lay that foundation for what they've been doing as well. But I think this year they're starting to put a lot more together, even with the slow start that they had earlier in this 2025 season. But as of now, I really like what this team has been able to accomplish. Now, I'm not sure that they're capable of going as far as I would hope them to go, but just to get in the playoffs and get a win like that, I think it's very impactful for this team down the road as they move forward. But Tyler Britchie, another guy who showed up big. Danny Dodd, someone we have not talked about much, was a menace on the line. He was terrific. And then some guys who we mentioned earlier this year, like Paulie Smith, Tuggle Daly, were part of this and part of those impact performances on the line and defensively. But give credit to Brody Hauscher. He continues to make some big plays in terms of especially the defensive side. He's been great in the secondary. He's really had a keen eye for breaking up some passes. But this defense really showed up in big moments today, and I think the most impressive, guys, as most would expect, was Davis Cargill, and Cargill,
Yeah.
He carried the load in that second half, and he was, when they need a big game on the ground, when they need to move the sticks, just gave the ball to Cargill, and it worked. Tremendous wheels. I really like how decisive he is in terms of moving downfield. He's really starting to figure it out a lot better at running back, and he's been getting the good help from his blockers, especially here today. And it's been great to see what Davis has been able to accomplish this year. And I think that this Hilton Head Prep team has really turned a corner in 2025, just with the wins that we have seen. It's been awesome to see just overcoming a lot from the early stretch of the year where things didn't go your way. Then you had to play some good teams like Bethesda. You had to play Dorchester Academy, two really good teams this year. And then you go on the road, you beat Augusta Christian 24-7, a really dominant performance. And then you gave all hell to JP2. I mean, that was a tight game, 17-7. And that's a JP2 team that just pounded Thomas Hayward. So I think you got to be really proud of what Hilton Head Prep has done this season. Only one more. Actually, no, they have. They do have one more next week. I guess they still have Dylan Christian, I believe, that's on the schedule coming up on the 21st. Would that be right?
Wait, what? Oh yeah, I know they moved a couple games. I'm not sure what it's. Yes, that's right. We mentioned that. Yeah, we had mentioned that earlier this week. I think it was the night you were off.
Oh, okay.
With family. We were talking about it, and I was just like,
no, it's just like a little... it's just you'd expect games sometimes are moved to Thursdays, but a random game on a Tuesday. The only Tuesday games you normally see are like MAC college football games in like November that they randomly put on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. But yeah, I guess that they'll be playing on Tuesday. That's a short week for them. It's only 4 days in between Friday and Tuesday, so they're gonna have to get right back at it. It appears.
Yeah. Do have a score update, by the way. Final score between Bamberg and Ridgeland. Final score: Bamberg takes the win 60-0
and
over.
I have another. Sorry, say that score one more time.
60-0 over Ridgeland. Bamberg over Ridgeland. 60-0.
All right. Nothing surprising there. Unfortunately, the Whale Branch Warriors, they fall 28-26 on homecoming.
Oh,
that is a bitter loss, especially when you bring in the SC State band, you bring in all the good vibes. You would have loved to have gotten that one, but they lose 28-26 to Lake Marion.
Wow. Yeah, that's a tough one. But I mean, great game. But if you're Whale Branch, that's a really tough way to go on homecoming night. But I mean, this Whale Branch team's playing really good. I mean, despite that loss tonight to Lake Marion, and the fact they still have to play Hampton County. I think we know where that game's going to go. But I mean, you look at Ridgeland. I mean, they still have a chance for a home playoff game, and that's pretty impressive for Whale Branch, especially with what we thought of when we were coming into this season. When we were talking stuff during the preseason, we just did not see a way for Whale Branch to possibly make the playoffs. We just thought they would just be in a rebuild kind of mode with a team that just wasn't going to be able to match up with any of their 2A counterparts. But they have really showed up this year. They had a great game against Edisto and another great game tonight despite the loss.
Yeah, I mean, 2-point loss in a game that was back and forth. It's a tough one, but at the same time, they've been a lot more competitive than I thought they would be this year, and that's a good sign to their coaching staff and some of those guys in that program. So next week's gonna probably be a tough one against Hampton County. Hampton County is going to want to go for the complete shutout of the other teams in the region because they shut out Barnwell today, and I believe they shut out everyone so far. I kind of think they have off the.
I think Hampton County has shut out everyone.
Yeah.
I don't think Edisto scored. I don't think Lake Marion scored.
No,
Barnwell didn't score.
Yeah, that's crazy. It just shows how much better Hampton County is compared to all those other teams in that region. Yes, 49-0 or 43-0. Sorry, 43-0 over Edisto, 56-0 over Lake Marion, now 50-0 over Barnwell. Will Whale Branch be able to break the shutout streak? I think they, although I don't know, it's because I feel like Hampton County's gonna feel like that means something to them if they want to. If they're gonna
it would be fun. It would be a great moment for them.
I think most importantly, they just want to they want to get the region play healthy, and I think that's the most important. You want to keep your guys healthy. Obviously, it appears that Hampton most likely is going to get that win there. Back at home should be a loud atmosphere at in Varnville next week. Then they're off week 10, so they get a full week off with playoffs. So that's a pretty nice bonus for them.
By the way, I do have one more score to share with everyone. Final score between Jefferson Davis and Cross. Final score: Jefferson Davis wins 48-6 over Cross Schools. Yet another tough loss for the Stingrays. But again, we've talked about that before. They are a team that is trying to figure out who they are as in terms of their identity, and they're only at the beginning of the road for that program, but they're going to get there one day. But Jefferson Davis has obviously been a powerhouse of 8-man football over the years. 8 state titles, I believe, that they've had in their time in 8-man football. Program. So
no shame, no shame there.
Program.
That's a great team.
No shame.
So, yeah, but there you go. That's all the full slate in the books for week 8, and we'll do some more sponsor shout-outs, I guess, then kind of give our takeaways from what we have seen from the week 8 action, and I might just maybe a little look on some of the region standings as well before we wrap things up, because we're getting to that time where playoffs are on the horizon. We're gonna have to start looking up some brackets and RPI stuff. Definitely, we'll be doing a lot more deep dives into RPI starting this coming week as the playoffs are coming up very quickly. But some more sponsors. Hudson Seafood on the dock. Great place for seafood, sunsets, and cocktails on the island. They're the presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. New episodes every Tuesday on Lowco Media Network. Twins and Tomley, your personal injury attorneys. Rare name, remarkable service. And Hilton Out Windows and Doors. Coach Barron, improving your view of the Low Country, former state championship basketball coach, now helping setting your screens. They're a different kind of screens, not the ones where you're setting picks on the basketball court. Nope, it's actual window screens. But there you go, Coach Barron, great guy too, because I've been able to talk with him for a bit throughout his tenure over there with the Dolphins. But back to football.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Justin Jarrett.
Oh, there we go.
WSTV studio.
Fresh off the
I didn't go to the
dominant
studios.
Hilton Head performance. Were
I
you
was
surprised
under a
by the
tent on the sideline.
We'll call those the studio.
Your thoughts on what you saw and what you're able to call out there, because Hilton had certainly
weird
made
game.
their mark defensively early in this one, and the turnovers were the big story.
Yeah, they really were. I mean, there's no way to get around it. It was the 3 fumbles, one directly leading to a touchdown on the first drive with Thad the Impaler just in the right place, right time, pops right in his lap, and he's gone for a touchdown. I really thought at the moment, like, oh boy, this could start a rout. But of course, coming right back the other way, Mason Swigert with the touchdown on the kick return, and that was a huge play from May River. Got the crowd back in it after they were kind of stunned into silence, and it was a good fight. It was an ugly game. It was a sloppy game in a lot of ways. Defenses dominated. I even thought I thought May River's defense played exceptionally well. Really acquitted themselves well.
Yeah, I mean, Hilton Head had to earn
They
it. Obviously, Zarnecki with the big dagger,
yeah,
in that 46-yard run. But before
right. That
that,
was.
yeah,
But before that, I mean, in the first
yeah,
half, all 17 points were directly as a result of
right,
turnovers and
turnovers. You
short
had the
fields.
scoop and score,
And
then you had the short field. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it
And then
was
another short
yeah,
field when Jimenez had a scoop and
right,
score and he just got his feet tangled
and
up
held
and
the field goal
stumbled
there. Yeah, yep,
and they had to kick a field goal. But then May River, showed some fight there at the end of the half and got into field goal range. Great kick by Hudson Tanner. Hudson Tanner was a man tonight. He had
yeah,
a great interview last night. Coach Bonneville asked me before the game how he did last night. I said he was great, and he was
it was
terrific
awesome.
tonight. He punted the ball well. He made a big 40-yard field goal right before halftime. Squeaked it inside the left upright to keep him
Nice.
within a score. And then he played really well on defense. I mean, he was all over the place on defense. Even had a kick return and a punt return. So no, he played exceptionally well. We talked to BJ after the game, Andrew Davis and I. Of course he's not satisfied with the way they played because they weren't real crisp on offense. They kind of did just enough. Um, they had a lot of self-inflicted stuff, a lot of penalties that killed
Yeah,
drives
I
in the
mean, it
first
was that
half.
at points, it was,
Um,
that holding
but
call that
defensively, they were
yeah.
exceptional. They stayed on
Yeah, but I
assignment
mean,
and
I
they did
look
their
back at
job.
that holding call that, could have been a
Yeah,
big gain on that great pass, to Stewart from
right.
and even so, I mean, they take advantage of the defensive side of the ball, and
Yeah,
they still find a way to really dominate in terms of
yeah, and
scoreline.
that's what I said is, on a night when they didn't have their best stuff,
Right.
they still got a fairly convincing win in a hostile environment against a really tough, well coached team. So huge night for Hilton Head, sets them up really well. They've got Beaufort and Colleton left on the
Just
schedule.
gotta win one more because, if
Right,
they're 4-1, they'll have the head-to-head, so, they can clinch if
correct.
they win at Colleton.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, just one more win will do it for Hilton
Yep,
Head, and I expect that to come, next week because
yep,
they're playing. They're a really good football team, and May River's coaching staff was pretty explicit about the fact before the game that they're really good. Like
yeah,
we're trying to stay in this game. They felt like Hilton Head was the better team, and the Seahawks were proved to be. But yeah, it was unfortunate that the early turnovers, that just bit May River because they haven't really had a big problem with that this year, and they weren't really the one was forced, but two of them really weren't. Just bad exchanges or the one where Tran lost it coming out, the second fumble we got from our sideline reporter Hank, who did a great job. That it was a snap count issue. It was supposed to be snapped
ugh.
on two, and he snapped it on one. And
Those
so
those 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 are the kinds of plays that will make a head coach not sleep well at night because those are ones that you 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 got to try to avoid if you're playing a big
yeah,
game like that. That's
yeah. Yeah, little stuff is big stuff,
yep,
especially when you're overmatched. When you know that the other team's got a little more juice than you do, you got to be perfect. You just can't make those little
yep,
mistakes. And so, yeah, that's what they'll be kicking themselves for is just not being as focused as they could have been in that first half and letting it kind of get away from them. But I also thought it was interesting that May River had a fourth down and medium around midfield, a little bit on their side of midfield with 8 minutes left in the game, down two scores, and they punted it away. and then they got the ball back and they scored to get back within 2 scores. I guess they gave a touchdown, but then they scored to get back within 2 scores, and then they kicked it deep instead of doing an onside with 3 minutes left. Both times just kind of waving the flag, and that was interesting to me.
Yeah, Bonneville was ready to move on, but
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, they were up against it. Like the math wasn't
yeah,
in their
I mean, it
favor,
wasn't like they were down multiple scores, so I
8 minutes
understand.
is kind of late, kind of early
Yeah.
to because it just didn't make sense. At 8 minutes, they weren't going to stop Hilton Head and score again. They had to score
Right.
on that drive to really have a chance. So I thought that was interesting. I just thought they would have, you know, made a little more effort to
Yeah, I
try
mean, I feel like that's
there, because like
a
point differential
logical thing
doesn't
for most
matter or
coaches to do
anything.
is onside kick it because, you know, it's a low
Yeah,
risk, high reward
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the punt with 8 minutes later was or left
Yeah.
was as puzzling to me, because it was, you know, it was a classic you go for it there situation,
Right.
and but you
Yeah.
know, well,
Flexing.
Kevin Libby said it. They have no passing game to speak of. I mean,
Well, the one
they
pass the one pass I remember seeing in the second half, not a very
they threw 2
not
passes
much conviction. Okay.
and it was nowhere near. And
Hmm.
you know, I mean, just throwing it up there,
Yeah.
and it was
I
covered
mean,
too. Hilton Head was on it, so it's a fun offense.
it's on
It's
offense, but it's just
gimmicky.
not a two-dimensional offense where you can count on
Well,
someone
it's
to.
not. Let me rephrase. It's not a fun offense. It's an interesting offense.
It's
It's
interesting
not
offense
fun.
because like if when they're on their game, they can make it tough in terms of their
It's a
misdirection and really good calls.
neutralizer is what
Yeah.
it is. It's
Yeah.
really difficult to prepare for because you can't put together a scout team and teach them how to run this in a week. Like so, you know,
Yeah.
it's really tough to prepare for. You don't get to see it live really. And you have to be really disciplined and stay on assignments, and that's not the easiest things for high school kids to do. But I thought Hilton Head's linebackers did an exceptional job tonight. Will Jimenez was phenomenal.
Oh,
But it's
fantastic.
just, I mean, and I think May River knows this. I don't think I'm hurting their feelings to say this. It's an offense that helps you win more games than you should, but it's not going to help you beat really good teams. You know, it's just too
And
one
that's
dimensional to beat really good
yeah,
teams.
that's the thing I should have seen. And obviously, the other thing was if I'm not mistaken, they were missing Andrew Johnson tonight on that offense as
Yeah,
well. Which
Andrew
also,
Johnson is probably
Yep.
we don't know for sure, but he's probably not playing this season. He had a kind of a he had a back spasm type issue and was laid up for a little while, and
yeah,
so he's not at full strength even when he gets cleared. So I'm not sure that he'll be back in the
right.
mix.
And
But Justin Head was really good tonight. He was their
yeah,
best
it was
back tonight.
fantastic. Yeah,
He was solid, and but Hilton Head was just really good. Jimenez, yeah, as Marcus stated, Jimenez and Zarnecki were phenomenal at the linebacker spots. And you know, but I thought May River's defense. I came away really impressed with May River's defense, the way they played against a pretty electric Hilton Head team. They didn't give up
Yeah.
much deep. They stuffed the run
You
in the
know,
first half.
sometimes those big games, they're decided by a few plays, and there were a couple of bad exchanges. Just times they put the ball on the ground, and against a good team that knows how to make you pay when you fumble the football like that. So, credit to Hilton because I thought they executed the game really well. That I said they need to play turnover-free football. They did. I thought Ranaszewski was outstanding when he was able to do his
Yeah.
thing, and um, obviously Zarnecki continues to be such a sensation this year for
Yeah.
the Hilton Head team and Jimenez as well, and that defense as a whole just knows how to take advantage of misplays and just really plays a disciplined style of football. And certainly a lot of things that PJ Payne would like to see cleaned up, but to play at maybe their B level in a game
Yeah.
where you're going up against a very good team on the road in that kind of environment, that
That's
says
it.
a lot about.
Well, and look, they brought A+ for
Yep.
Bluffton and for Bishop
Right.
England, and it's really hard to bring A+ every game. That's
Yeah.
what you strive for, but it's not realistic, you know. And they
Right.
brought like B plus, B minus tonight, something like that, and
Yeah.
they got the job done.
Right.
And BJ said he felt like in the first half in particular they were flat after the bye week. They were just a little slow and a little out of sync. But they got it going. The big run by Zarnecki to start the second half was huge. Because that really, May River had some momentum going into the locker room after the field goal, and that really took some of the wind out of their sails. But it was a great game. Oh, Marcus made his Buford's own debut. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
you didn't know that? Yeah, he was.
Yes.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
How about
Yeah.
that
I
duo?
was.
How about that for a duo? Him and Javon Livingston on the
Absolutely. I
call
bet there was a
together.
lot of excitement on that
Oh yeah,
broadcast.
it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
fun
Jeff
For sure.
Riley,
broadcast.
thanks for the shout out. Jeff Riley, BJ Payne says you owe him $100.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, is there a wager made?
Remember, Jeff put 100 on May River last night. BJ Payne said, "Hey, tell your friend Jeff he owes me $100."
Can I clear up? Yeah, I went for May River, but I didn't bet on it.
No, you didn't put no
Oh
money on it.
my.
No, we're just
Okay.
joking, Jeff.
Did
But
not think
that's
that
why
was
you
a
don't
thing.
say you're putting money on high school teams.
Because the coach
Um,
will say you owe me.
maybe only BJ, but
BJ.
I love
Oh
it. I
no.
love it.
Yeah.
Cracked me
Oh
up,
God.
and he said, "Hey, tell
I
your
mean,
buddy Jeff he
you
owes me
gotta
$100."
think. You got to think if you're BJ Payne right now, though, you got to be so happy with where you are as a team right now,
Oh yeah.
as the coaching
Yeah.
staff, because
100%.
he's waited long enough for a region title, and I think he's well on his way to getting it. And I'm so happy for him, and I think we all are with how this team has been playing this year. They've just been absolutely amazing on all facets of the ball. And I said to Wes earlier on the show, I said, I think this is the most well-rounded team I have seen from this region or any of the regions we have in this area in quite some time. I just think they're just solid on both sides of the ball, and it's hard to find any weaknesses
And
with this team.
we mentioned earlier, but you just think of the start of this year and the tragedy that occurred with Joe Mominier, and just the emotion that this team had to deal with, and you use it to fuel yourself and play up to those values. And we've seen it in like just in sports in general, where a tragic moment can really result in an inspired team, and it's kind of the same
I
thing that
can
we're
think of a
seeing.
few. Actually, I could think of your Red Sox, Wes Kerr, when you talk about that. And, that
2013, yep.
that Red Sox team after the Boston bombing during the Boston Marathon, and how that Red Sox team prevailed, won a World Series later that year. There's so many stories like that, and I think this is well on its way to being one of those kinds of stories where you overcome extreme emotional pain, which I think a lot of the students at Helmet High School felt, especially with the passing of an AD who's been there for so many years.
Faculty, and
I think
Coach BJ.
this football team is showing that they are doing this, not just for BJ, but for those who are wanting to give something back to Joe Mominier and what he had done for the entire Hilton Head athletics department, because what he has done in his time was truly special. And any AD will tell you that Joe Mominier was one of the best to ever do it. And
No
so
doubt about that.
I think this football team is, special. I really do. And it's a special kind of season for them right now.
How about them Warhawks?
Yes.
Max
How about them Warhawks?
How was Waltersboro tonight? Fire?
Waltersboro was popping for half a freaking game. It was popping. That place was packed, let me tell you. And it always is, no matter what. I mean, that Colleton Prep is what, I talked with the coaches, and I briefly mentioned this with Wes. I talked with the coaches, and I just said, this is one of my favorite places to come to. And the reason is I've been here numerous times, and every time I've been there, whether I was a player in football or whether I was doing work for Lowco Sports, it is always a fun atmosphere. These fans are so dedicated to Colleton Prep, and it's so great to see Colleton Prep win a region title tonight after beating out Buford Academy. It's just a really special occasion for Colleton Prep, and the job's not done for them. And I was talking with all the coaches for during after the game, actually, just talking with them and asking them questions, and I just kept telling them that, like, that Thomas Hayward game they had, I think, opened up everyone's eyes to say, oh, this Colin Prep team is dangerous, and they've continued to show that. And I think the real eye opener was that Calhoun Academy game that they had, where they got that close win against what has been a very formidable Calhoun team, whose only loss was to Colin Prep. And I think that just shows how good this Colin Prep team is right now. And the fact of the matter is they are also healthy. And that is a major thing for them, especially at this point in the season where they don't have many injuries whatsoever to any of their key players. And so they still got a bit of a road ahead for them. I mean, they got the playoffs, and that's always tricky. But next Friday is going to be interesting because they do play in what could be a state championship matchup between them and Dorchester Academy next Friday. It's going to
That's
be
gonna be a lot of fun. What a great matchup! What a great
one's
matchup to have late in the
juicy.
season against a team that is a fellow
A
state
non-region,
champion.
region crossover. Ooh, that's juicy.
It is juicy.
But also, it's like,
and it's at home for Colin Prep.
But they both might also like kind of be vanilla and not try to show too much if they know they might play each other again later.
Well, and that's the thing. And I told
the
other thing I said was like that's a potential state championship matchup. I also think them and Beaufort Academy could be a state championship matchup as well.
Yeah, BA's not out of the picture at all.
Oh, no,
I was impressed with the way they came out and they went down and scored. They made it a game.
Yeah, they're going to cause chaos in the playoffs. I think both of these teams will. And I think it's, I think it's, in my opinion, these two teams are eventually going to see each other in the playoffs, whether that's a state championship game or somewhere else in the playoffs. I really do believe that. And I think when these two teams play, I think it's going to be
Big Hampton
game.
How about Big Hampton putting it on?
Another shutout for them.
Slap them around.
Shutout. How about them? They've been absolutely amazing.
3 TDs for Agent Zero, so he's up to 25 now.
Oh my goodness!
What a year for
jeez.
And then here's the best story of the night, though. I don't know if you guys talked about it. Patrick Henry took it on the chin against Calhoun, 42-14. But that last touchdown, our old friend Matt Gohagen, who he had the heart scare a couple summers ago, and hasn't been able to play since. They got him cleared to get in the game tonight, and the plan was to get him in on a kickoff, and he was supposed to sprint to the sidelines as soon as the ball was kicked and not make any contact. But because the game got lopsided at the end, the coaches had discussed this whole situation. The Pats put it down to on the goal line. They got to the 2, and they put in Matt Gohagen, and Matt Gohagen put it in the end zone. Here we go.
Oh man,
Matt Gohagen walking into the end zone, getting back on the field for the first time.
That's special.
Oh my God, unbelievable!
The moment,
unbelievable stuff right there.
Love to see that.
Just the triumph of the human spirit.
Yeah, those are the kinds of stories that everyone will bond over and love to see. That's terrific stuff. So, despite the loss, a big win tonight, right there for the Patriots. Awesome stuff.
And that's
amazing.
That's what I love about sports, man. They're just the cool moments like that. It just makes it so special. And I love seeing, moments like that. We've seen them before, of course, with Hampton County, that Hampton County basketball game.
And then Chip Mullen back at Hilton Head many years ago.
Oh yeah.
And it's such a cool story, and I'm so happy we got this. Patrick Henry got to have that moment tonight, especially with of course, what was a lopsided event, but that's a strong Calhoun Academy team. We've already discussed that, especially with how that game went between them and Colin Prep. We knew that Calhoun team was going to be strong, and they are a state championship contender for sure in their division as well. So keep an eye on them for 3A football.
Hampton's
2A.
Hampton's 2A.
Oh, they're 2A. They are 2A. That's right. They are 2A. My bad.
Yep, they've got Whale Branch next week.
No, you said Calhoun, right? That's who you're
Calhoun
talking about?
Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calhoun Academy.
Okay. Okay.
But Hampton, Hampton's rolling. Tough loss for Whale Branch tonight.
Oh,
Man, they had
God.
they went down to the wire like we knew it
Oh.
would, and they came up just a little short. So that one hurts. We knew that was going to be a tough game for them. And Barnwell should be a very competitive game as well. So they still got a shot to come in third in that region, or even in a three-way tie somehow, possibly.
Yeah,
It wasn't
They beat
competitive for
somebody.
Barnwell
Like if
tonight.
Edisto beat Lake Marion, that would mix it up, I think.
I
So
can tell you right
we'll see
now
what shakes out. Ridgeland got the humbling that I expected they would. Ridgeland or Bamberg is just an absolute unit.
Oh my gosh.
To put 60 on that defense is legit. Like,
you know what I would love to see?
I
would have loved to have seen this season a Bamberg Hampton County game. I would have
yeah,
killed that game.
it would have been really great. And they have played each other a good bit in the
know.
past. But it hasn't worked out
Oh.
lately because Hampton's really tried to schedule up in their non-region, the last few years because
I agree.
they really want to try to test themselves because you see what happens in the region, especially this year. I forgot to tell you guys the other night, but I talked with Coach Hannah a good bit at the cross country race the other night at Dogwood Hills in Walterboro because he made it out to support his wife, the cross country coach, and his daughter, daughters plural maybe. I think one of them might be in college now and one's still in high school. His wife has done a tremendous job with that cross country program, and they're really strong. But I also saw Coach Willie White from Whale Branch was up there. I guess he drives the bus for him. Wesley's on the team, so he drives the bus for him on some of the cross country trips, and because they don't want to, do the whole charter bus thing for 9 kids or whatever. So yeah, I got to have a little powwow with a couple of the head coaches in the area, so that was cool. Nothing else jumping out. Seahawks are in command. JP2 just smacked them around. We all thought JP2 was going to win that game. We all did pick JP2, right?
Yeah.
Did you go with Thomas Hayward, Max? You didn't do that, did you? Okay, you're our contrarian, so I figured
even if Tony
I thought about
playing,
I thought about going.
So Tony didn't play? Is that the word on the street?
Tony was out.
What it sounds like is that he wasn't playing. So I don't know if it's him being injured or I don't know.
That explains everything. I mean, that explains why it was as bad as it was. But it's still nonetheless JP2 continues to be one of the biggest stories of the season, and they have a chance to become the biggest story of the season next week, potentially.
We're right, and we've talked about that.
And that I think it's really folding into a potential toss-up game with the way that Hilden Christiani is trending, and the way JP2 is. JP2 certainly upward. Hilden Christiani on the downturn right now.
And that first meeting, I feel like, was more competitive than the final score would indicate.
I agree.
The ball really bounced HHCA's way in that game. There were a couple of plays that really swung it, but it felt like it was more competitive than that. And I feel like this one's going to be really, really competitive. I think it's going to be a huge game. I look forward to that one.
I think that's the biggest game we have next week.
Powwow backwards is a wow wop. Best thing my baseball coach at that age ever taught me was it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. I still live by that mantra. Marcus Walsh, he's looking forward to next week. He'll have the call on WHHI, the Inter-County Bowl. So that'll be a good one.
Inter-County Bowl.
In my opinion, that's probably going to be the most competitive Inter-County Bowl we have seen.
No doubt about that.
Ever.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a battle.
The other
gave him a fight a couple of times.
I was going to bring up, I want you to have your opinion on, is the Bluffton game where the Bobcats didn't. I mean, they won big, but
Carlton hung around.
Carlton hung in there. Yep,
they sure did.
It's a little.
It's hard to know without seeing it whether that was a case of Colleton like playing really well, or Bluffton kind of being a little sluggish in a
Yeah, I
game
mean,
that
it's
they
trapped
were looking
kind
past a
of
little
environment.
bit. Um, they were probably about as interested in how the May River Hilton Head game went as they were in how their game was going at
Yeah.
moments, So I think this was a classic game for them to be a little distracted and off their game.
They're trapped.
They righted the ship in time and ran away with it in the second half. So I think I think they'll be
Yeah,
fine.
they'll be fine. I'm not worried at all
Certainly
about
look
winning.
forward to it. But I think Carleton's fought everybody in the
Yep.
first half.
They
Yeah,
have.
They
yeah,
tough for
honestly.
as long as they can.
Yeah.
They just can't
Yep.
hang in for 4 quarters.
So,
Um,
so
but
May River, Hilton Head, obviously the lone unbeaten team at 3-0.
yeah,
May River falls to 2-1. Bluffton improves to 2-1.
yeah,
Bishop England finally gets their first win of region play. Um,
yeah.
so they're 1-2.
And that was a
And
fight
then
like we thought it might be.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So you got May River and Bluffton both
Yeah.
at 2-1. Buford at 1-2. Bishop England at 1-2. Bishop England has the tiebreaker head-to-head with Beaufort's. Collinson County 0-3. So you have, I mean, that Bluffton Bishop England game. I mean, if Bishop England wins, that can kind of right
Matriculating.
Marcus.
Yeah, I was saying if
Walsh
Bluffton
has matriculated.
Yes, I have.
no,
I have indeed.
Can I just say that Buford team impressed me tonight with how they played, especially on the road in Daniel Island against what is usually a terrible place to play at because it's just so hard to get a win there.
And Hilton Head can't sleep on them.
No,
I mean, Hilton Head can't sleep on Buford. They can't, and they won't.
No, I said the same thing.
Chaz Brown's ruined their night before, and they know who he is, and they're going to come prepared. But it is
be
right for that's a classic spot for a letdown, right? You're coming off I guess they got Colleton first. But Colleton's going to come out and fight too. I mean, as BJ told us post game, they practice too. They got coaches to get paid and everything. They're trying to win. So they won't. I don't think they'll take that lightly. And going up to Colleton's never. That's a great environment for the home team.
Yeah.
So we'll see. They still got to play the games. But what all we got next week? We got May River at Beaufort. That's also, that I'm not sure which way I go on that one. Those are two pretty similar teams. They lean on their defense and run the ball, and they both stop the run pretty well. So, I think that's an interesting matchup. Bishop England at Bluffton is very much an interesting matchup.
That is where Javon will be next week.
Okay.
He confirmed that for me in terms of that.
And then Hilton Head, Colleton County, we mentioned. So all three of those solid matchups next week that could really shake up the standings if any one of those goes other than the way it's supposed to go. And they could. Orangeburg Wilkinson comes to Battery Creek, a little bit of a reprieve for the Dolphins not having to play Oceanside, but it's another undefeated team. Last I checked, I don't know if they won tonight. Whale Branch at Hampton County, that one would have had a lot more weight to it if Whale Branch had won tonight. They fall by 2 tonight, so not quite as much levity there, but not sure it matters. I think Hampton County is just head and shoulders above everybody in that region. Branchville coming to Hardyville. That'll actually be a Saturday 6 p.m. kick for homecoming in the Ville. So
that's right.
I missed this earlier in the week because it's really Hilton Head Prep is playing on a Tuesday night against.
As far as we can tell.
Far as we can tell,
we
were thinking initially that might be a typo, but it hasn't changed.
It hasn't. So
it's
a weird deal. Very strange. I don't know how that came about.
Very odd.
But anyway, Then we
Some
got
kind of conflict.
HHCA at JP2 or WHHI Inter-County Bowl. So you'll have coverage of that one as well as Bishop England Bluffton on Beaufort Zone. I also found out today that HHP streams their games on the NFHS network. So
Oh,
I got
nice.
to
We
watch
found that
a
out
good bit of
last
that
week,
game.
and
Yeah, I had
we
no idea, but
Nice.
I mentioned that actually just seeing it right where we were perched up last week with
Yeah,
the Pix-a-lot
I
right
wonder if
there.
they will do the
So
same
they do
for
that.
basketball season.
I hope so. That would be
I would
I
think
hope
they
fantastic.
would
they do.
have to.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Yeah, most of the Skeezer schools were streaming either on NFHS or Huddle Fan last year. I started being able to find a lot more
Yeah.
games on NFHS and fan.huddle.com, which is awesome. It's
Yeah, I mean that's
fantastic.
the way it should be. You
Yeah, yeah, it's wonderful.
know.
But yeah,
I have
HHPA
another update,
JP2
but
should be a great one too. What you got?
not a local update, but may have witnessed one of the greatest Major League Baseball postseason performances tonight of all time.
You talking about Shohei?
3 home runs and 10 strikeouts on the mound.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
He hit 3 home runs.
Wow.
He struck out 10 batters in the same game.
And
Good grief.
And the report from the Under the Bus group text is Bob Stevens says, just saw Otani hit his third homer of the night, second hit the roof of the pavilion, and he went 6+ shutout innings with 10 Ks. Not bad. Yeah, he is the greatest baseball player of all time, period.
Period. Yeah, agreed.
There's nobody better.
No doubt.
It is unbelievable that anyone can be as good at either one of those things as they are. But for anybody to be that good at both of those things is it's impossible. Like, this man is a unicorn. I don't think we'll see another one like that.
It's highly helpful.
But
Yeah.
5-1
all
in
right,
the
go
eighth.
back to they're
LA
about
with
to
the
sweep.
lead over Milwaukee.
And to get out the brooms.
Seattle wasn't
Get out the
BSing tonight
brooms.
though. Gino Suarez
I was
with the
just gonna
grand
ask.
Yes,
slam.
I
What was
mentioned
going
that
on there?
earlier. Wow, what a swing. I mean, just crazy how, just one swing in the
Is it
back and change the
Gino?
entire series because it felt like Toronto was really in control before that happened, and I thought that Gosman was producing well, and I mean obviously I believe it was the reliever who gave up the grand slam, but still I mean Toronto I thought had a good stranglehold on that game at one point, but give credit to Gino.
I
I
think
mean
they
that was
should.
the
I don't
guy
think
they
it's Gino.
acquired
Is it? Is
midway
that
through
how
the
you
season.
pronounce his first name?
Yep.
I thought it was Eugenio.
Yeah, it's Eugenio, but Gino's
Yeah,
We'll call him
Eugenio
Gino, but yes,
Suarez.
Eugenio.
short for
Yeah,
Gino.
that's right. Yeah, sorry, I forgot
But
about
I
that.
think they should make a music video that's like Rico Suave, but it's Gino
Yeah. But
Suarez, and he could have his
I like it.
hair flicking like Gerardo. It would be so great.
Oh my God.
I love
Yep.
Gino.
But what a move by DiPacho at the deadline for Seattle. I
Well,
mean
that's a guy who
that's as
came
good
up
as it
with
gets right
them
there.
and
Yep.
played there for a long time. So
I'm sorry,
yeah, huge pickup.
Justin Hollander, the general manager of Seattle. Yep, the guy who was.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I'm rooting for them. I hope they win it all.
I am
All right,
too.
back to our week 9 slate on the Skeezer side. We got HHCA JP2, as we mentioned, should be a great one with Marcus on the call. Orangeburg Prep at Patrick Henry, a non-region game. Weird schedule for Patrick Henry this year. Andrew Jackson Academy at BA, that is a region game, but should be a mismatch. Big non-region crossover game, Dorchester Metropolitan Prep. Could be a preview of a 1A playoff game, as Max mentioned. Thomas Hayward at Carolina Academy. They'll try to get it back on track before they have to take on BA. And then Cross going to Holly Hill Academy. So that's your schedule for next weekend. Also, apparently,
yeah, I think I've been ahead to that Bishop
game on
England Bluffton
Tuesday?
game. Yeah, starts week 9 starts on Tuesday apparently. From
weird. Week 8
Wild.
Weird, wild stuff.
But I'm looking forward to seeing that Bluffton Bishop England game. I think that one will be very intriguing. I'm excited to see what Bluffton's offense can do against a Bishop England team that reinvigorated after that last win. that's a big game because you know, Bluffton, if they win that one, it will be obviously it'll be that them May River competing for second place. But if Bishop England beats them, then it could cloud things up a bit because
Yep.
Bishop England would be 2-2, and Bluffton would also be 2-2. May River um, should have a good chance to win their game, but we'll see. See, it
Right. Yeah.
should be
We'll
interesting.
see.
Yep.
And
We will
I
see.
I
Well,
agree. I definitely agree with you, JJ, that May River matchup against Beaufort next week is going to be pretty interesting
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying
because
it's definitely not a convincing like May River favorite, like big time favorite. I
yeah.
think Buford is going to be in the mix in this game. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
I think
wouldn't
it's
say they're
good. I
heavy
think it
favorites
could
right
going to
be
be
a
now.
competitive
interesting.
game.
Yeah,
I think it could be
but I
interesting.
agree.
I agree.
yeah.
If
Yeah.
there's one thing Buford can do, it's shut down the run. Although some teams have run on him. Philip Simmons seems to. I think they ran all over him. But anyway, uh, Jeff Riley has stumbled onto a bit of a conspiracy. Apparently,
Uh-oh.
he asked in the comments. He said, "I definitely think Finnegan is taller."
Hmm.
And then
Interesting.
he's on this, and now he's gone back on it. He says JJ Finnegan is taller, Marcus Finnegan is taller. So we gotta investigate this. So here we go. I got a picture of Finnegan next to Gina Montford, recently taken. Has Finnegan grown? I don't know. I can't say for
Mm.
sure.
I
Dive
can't
into
say.
that mystery. Yeah.
I can't say for sure, Jeff. We're gonna have to dig up some old photos of Finnegan, but I do have news for you. Sometimes mascots grow. Sometimes they shrink. Uh, it's a mystery about mascots that
Yeah, it is.
we can't
Really
Very
is,
understand.
true.
isn't it?
Sometimes
So
they're not
weird.
even the exact same height from one day to the next. But
It's very true too.
Oh man,
no. All right, guys. Are we through all the
I think we
sponsors,
are.
or I think we got to shout out Reverence
The
Wrestling
last
Club.
I haven't
Yeah,
done the
Reverence
run.
Wrestling Club's our
Yeah,
official
Revelance and
wrestling
Jay's
sponsor.
Barbershop. The only ones I've done.
Yeah, Reverence Wrestling Club presenting the Loco Grind. We'll have that coming back around here in a couple of weeks as wrestling season about to get underway. And then also Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. All right, fellas, you want to wrap it up with some parting thoughts?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Marcus.
I'll just start off by saying, I got to May River a little bit before 6 today and was going to be, around the bleachers and whatnot. And then I saw Javon up there at the top bleacher and I
Yeah.
walked up and said hey to him. And one thing led to another. He's like, I haven't seen much of this Hilton Head team this year. And I said, this is my first time seeing May River. How about if you don't mind, and I don't mean to crash your broadcast, but if you don't
Little
mind,
yin
I'll
and
join
yang.
you and we can work through this together. He said, I haven't had a partner in quite some time. Let's do it. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
I ended up joining him and was able to get some good information out there to the folks
awesome.
and whatnot, and talk our schedule as well, along with what he's got going on, and do the whole kind of scoop around the Low Country. But it was fun working with Javon. First time doing that, and we both kind of looked at each other, and this had happened in the professional circuit. It was like, how's this going to work with two play-by-play guys
Right.
doing this game
Yeah.
together? Um, it was his band, so I said, whatever
Yeah.
you need me to do, I'll do. So he was on play by play, and I was on color, and filling in the gaps certainly. But fun atmosphere tonight and whatnot. I really hope that some point, I know May River's going to do what they're going to do, but I just hope at some point, and maybe it's because Andrew Johnson's been out, that they can get an extra wrinkle because they went up
Yeah.
against Hilton Head, who's got a lot of them. I'm going to see them
Yeah.
on WHHI against Bluffton in 2 weeks, and Bluffton is as good, I think, offensively as Hilton Head is. They do things maybe slightly different, but it's just that's why the game against Buford for May River really intrigues me so much, that maybe they can work on a couple of things and whatnot. And I think that's going to be a tight game, give them a little bit of momentum heading into the Bluffton Bowl. And then the other, certainly the other key throughout today's action that caught my eye was JP2. And I get to see them again next week.
Yeah.
And they just look really, really good. Obviously, Tony O'Banner didn't play. I heard you guys mention that. That's a big reason why THA only scored 7 points.
Oh, no,
JP2
they ended up
looks
with 21. It
like
was
or
47
that's
7 at
right.
half, but
When
they
I
ended up with
saw
21.
when I
Yep.
saw the score, they had 7.
Yeah.
So JP2 looks like a well-oiled machine right now and playing really good football. I cannot wait to see that inter-county bowl between them and HHCA. I'm really excited to see Kress and what he can do at quarterback, and certainly Joey Hopton and company. So looking forward to it already. It's going to be a fun last couple of weeks heading into the playoffs. It's getting here, fellas. It's something.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
2 more weeks to
I might
go.
do a classic Loco Friday night hop next week, because with the Canes playing on Saturday, that frees me up on Friday night. I might do the hop where I go hit one game for a quarter and then go hit another game for a quarter and then make it back to the studio. Maybe even try to hit 3 games if I can figure it out.
Yes.
But
Ooh.
it's going to be a great
Oh
week next
man,
week.
3 games.
They've
Man.
done it before. You got to have them
Yeah, I have
lined up
to.
right. So you got
Yeah.
Buford, Bluffton, Colleton, Battery Creek, Hampton, JP2, Patrick Henry, BA, Colleton Prep, all at home. Holy cow,
Yes.
Man.
that's a bunch. So you could do something where you started far flung and worked your way back. Where I could go to Hampton for a quarter, bust it back to JP2 for the fourth quarter or something like that. I don't know. You can always do Bluffton and JP2. That's an easy combo.
Yeah.
Three's probably not going to work this week, but
Probably
2
not.
can easily be done. JP2 starts early too, right? They start at 7.
They
Those
start
are
at 7 o'clock.
early pickup.
7
Yeah,
o'clock
because they have
start
because
at
they have a light
JP2.
ordinance.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so you could
Real
definitely do that and
Yeah,
then
that actually
get
works out
over to
pretty well.
Bluffton for the end of the Bishop England game.
real quick
So
question. I know I texted you, Wes, that Ray Alonso was actually at the May River Hilton Head game.
yeah.
Did anybody get out to the JP2 THA game?
No, Ray. I hadn't gotten back to him until today, and he went and picked up Coop from Georgia Southern and brought him back for the game. So,
Right.
no worries. Ray was at the May River game, and that was fine.
Got to see him.
No, we didn't get anybody out there, but we always get good
It turned
stats
out to be a
from
not very
Coach Milligan.
good of a game.
Yeah,
So
turned out to
Right.
be not worth the
Yeah.
price of admission unless you're a JP2 fan.
Right.
But Max made a good call, though. He got a good one up. The second half in Walterboro was exciting, and Colleton Prep pulling out the dub. So they're going to take that region title. Oh,
Yeah.
back to the house. All right, Max, you got anything to add?
Obviously a lot of great games that took place tonight. Hilton Head really stood out again, as per usual, which has kind of been the story this year, as they have stood out among other teams this season.
That's 3 top 10 wins, right? Because Bluffton was in there
that
when they
would
played
be.
them, right?
Bluffton was 10th, I think,
Yeah,
when they beat them,
I believe
and
so.
then Bishop England was in the top 10, and so was May
Yep.
River.
Bishop England
So
was
that's
3.
pretty impressive. I mean, really impressive for them. And I think, in my opinion, I think they might move up the polls this next week, especially with how impressive they've been.
Probably depends on. I mean, it just
playing.
depends on if
It just depends,
anybody
but
loses in
I would
front of
love
you.
I would love to see them get a little more recognition just because of how well they've been
Oh,
playing.
agreed. They're
Um,
deserving.
but impressive game for them. Buford, I was impressed with tonight. They played a good game against Bishop
Yeah.
England despite the loss. And I said this to Wes earlier in the show. I think that was their best game of the season. It was, despite the loss, I think that was their best played game of the year. And that's a good thing, and that's a thing I think they can capitalize on and
argued.
continue to improve on. So I'm happy with Buford tonight. JP2. I mean, what more can you say about that team? I mean, they were a buzzsaw tonight, and just Thomas Hayward didn't have enough to handle JP2. Even if they had Tony O'Banner, I just didn't see them winning this game.
Enough.
But so those three teams really stood out for me. My other parting thought is college football is on tomorrow, and I do want to mention some of the important games, but there's a couple tonight that are very interesting. Miami, number 2 team in the country, taking on Louisville tonight. They lost to Louisville 24-21.
Oh man!
Oh,
the ACC
and number 25 Nebraska is on the road tonight at Minnesota. The current score is Minnesota 24.
Go Gophers!
The Golden Gophers won it 24-6.
Go Gophers!
Yep. 2 ranked upsets tonight on Friday night of all nights. How about that? But games tomorrow, very important games going on tomorrow. Number 10 LSU on the road at number 17 Vanderbilt. That should be an interesting one. I'm very intrigued.
High noon.
Yeah, high noon.
Joe Tess and company on ABC.
Number 14 Oklahoma takes a trip to Columbia to take on the Gamecocks of South Carolina. That could be an interesting game. Hopefully South Carolina can get back on the right track. The big one at 3:30. Number 5 Ole Miss taking on number 9 Georgia. That should be a fun game between those two teams. I am excited for that one.
Battle between the hedges.
Obviously, the number 1 team, Ohio State, they will be on the road in what is usually a tough environment at Wisconsin. So that should be an interesting game as well. I don't expect Wisconsin to do much against Ohio State, but we'll see. Let's see. What other games? Let's go to primetime. Number 20, USC taking on number 13, Notre Dame. Quite the rivalry there at 7:30.
Go Irish.
Primetime game. Another primetime game, number 11, Tennessee takes a trip to Tuscaloosa to take on number 6, Alabama. That could be a fun game as well. Number 23, Utah goes on the road to take on number 15, BYU.
Yeah, big game for your Mizzou Tigers. Battle the Tigers. They had to Auburn.
Yeah.
That should be a good game as well.
That could be a win for Mizzou.
We're going to Clemson without the lake. It better be.
How about this one? How about this game? This is an interesting one. I don't know how this matchup came to be. Washington State goes on the road to play Virginia. Where in God's earth did this?
Well, I mean, Washington State's they're basically an independent.
I know,
ACC,
but I never thought you'd see that unless it was a bowl game.
Play whoever they can get.
Yep.
By the way,
their flag goes to game day every week, so why can't they go play?
By the way, the only other game that's of note for me, Michigan State goes on the road to take on number 3. Who thought they would be at number 3 this season? Indiana. Has been absolutely outstanding this year. I'm so excited. I love watching Indiana be successful at football.
Man. Their coach
it's been great.
Kirk also, who would have expected the top 2 teams in the ACC right now to be Georgia Tech and Virginia? In terms of
who would have?
Yeah,
Miami too.
Signetti just got
but Miami lost.
They
lost the conference.
Huge contract.
Unbeaten team in the ACC. SMU's another one who plays Clemson.
Extension.
And then Duke's still undefeated as well in the ACC. But Georgia
That's
Tech,
a good game actually.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech is they're looking like
the Ramblin' Wrecks for real.
Yeah,
they are for real.
They're legit. They are fun to watch.
They are.
I love Hank.
I do
King.
like them.
Awesome.
It's so funny because I've been saying this. Kirk Signetti has been a godsend for Indiana. How great!
Well, I cannot wait for
the turnaround.
I'll tell you
of
what,
that program.
good old fashioned hate, the rivalry game between Georgia Tech and Georgia. Oh,
that's going to be great.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. I can't
fun.
wait for that. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But a lot of great games
Football's
tomorrow
wonderful.
in the college. Yeah, a lot of great games in the college football world tomorrow, but 2 potential it is 2 ranked upsets tonight. Number 2 Miami goes down to Louisville. Number 25 Nebraska goes down to Minnesota tonight. So
why does Miami always choke on it, man?
I know, right? They do choke on it.
Wild.
Mario Cristobal's got to figure that out, man. That's just terrible. Because I do like I do like seeing, a Miami team be able to be successful, and then they just choke at the worst possible time. They choke at the worst spot. Yeah.
I'm just feeling sorry for my friend Sammy Dubs tonight. He's
Yeah,
probably
right.
in his feelings about it. Wes, you got a parting thought from the night?
I gotta go back to my Hilton Seahawks and
Yeah,
what they were able to do tonight, and really just all season so far, especially in region play. I mean,
Actually,
I
sorry.
expected them. I expect them to be contending, but the way they played against Bishop England really showed me that they were ready to take that next step this year, and everything's really come together in such a great way for BJ Payne. And this has been, I mean, he's done yeoman's work, but in the past, these last few years, it has been, yeah, he's sent kids off to the next level. He's done some great work in the department, but the team has been a little lean. I mean, there are some years where they were just chomping at the bit, and heartbreaking loss after heartbreaking loss, and now, they're really starting to show them. I mean, they have now, but they're the not just the dominant team in the Loco, but they are challenging for possible supremacy in the lower state right now by the way they've been playing. It's just been really awesome to see just that level of defense and the intensity that they have continued to show on every series. And
Yep.
man, I just love watching Renishevsky compete. He just has that
yeah,
charisma and poise that sets him apart from many others that we have seen under center in years. He,
yeah.
he just has that it
It's
factor, and then you have such a utility guy who can do it all in Zarnecki. I mean,
yeah.
just they've got all the right pieces right now.
It's a
To,
complete team.
yeah, it really is.
It is.
It
It
really
is.
is.
I agree.
Renijevsky really impressed me tonight.
Yeah,
The
Yes.
touchdown run
Yes,
was
he did.
tough,
That
and
was
then
tough
I
as
mean his
nails.
throws were just on point.
On the money.
yeah,
They were on point all night. Even
I,
the one he missed in the end zone, he just barely missed it.
He's
And honestly, I think Caden Stewart
well.
just kind of misjudged it by a step, and he tried to jump for it. And I think if he would have just run through the ball, he would have caught it. I really think Derek put it
Absolutely.
right where it needed to be, and he just misjudged it just a bit.
I
But
have a
yeah,
question.
Radajewski was solid tonight. Numbers won't look spectacular. He didn't have a lot of yards, but he was super efficient and really smart with the ball.
Yeah, I have a question. When was the
Okay.
last time Hilton had won a region title?
2008.
2008
That's
Tim
was
right.
Singleton.
yeah,
Wow.
yep.
Tim Singleton.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's going back. That's going back a ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
They
are back.
I didn't
may
think it was that
just
long
do it
ago.
this year.
Yep. Yep.
Going
They
to be
are
interesting the
poised
next
for it.
couple of
They're
weeks.
poised
No
for it.
way.
My parting thought, I had a tremendous time calling the game on WSAV. Always excited to get the chance to work with those guys. They are the pros of pros. Dan Flaxer runs the show, and he does a tremendous job. He's got a great crew. Those guys were out there at like 11 a.m. today, getting set
Huh.
up, and
Hey, yeah,
they run a tight
it's what you
ship,
do.
and yeah, it was really
I mean,
impressive
heck, our crew
every
gets
time.
there at 2 o'clock in the
2
afternoon
o'clock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
for about a
yeah.
5 hour,
Right.
5.5 hour situation there.
Yeah. They had a
It's
big
what you got to
setup, and
do.
yes,
There's still people that ask me as a play by play guy. So game starts at 7:30. What time do you get there? About 6:30? And I'm like, no,
Yeah, no.
absolutely not. You get there hours in advance.
yeah. I mean,
Got to.
especially if
Yeah.
you're on a small crew where you're having to help set all that stuff up. Now,
Yep.
thankfully, WSAV has a full on crew out
It's a
there, and they
big
did a
op.
tremendous job. Shout out to my guy Taj keeping the stats for us right there next to us. That was great. Hank did a great job on the sideline reports, and then Kevin Levy asked earlier, is Andrew Davis as seen on TV? He's always been super sweet to me. He touched my shoulder at State of the Region this week, and I felt 150 times cooler. Yes,
I think
Andrew
so.
Davis
I've
is as seen
had a
on
chance to talk
TV,
to him too.
except like even more genuine. He is a tremendous person. He's a great journalist, and he does a really good job on the play-by-play as well. Good dude, super
Yep.
nice. Couldn't say, I mean, I couldn't say a bad word about Andrew. He's
I
tremendous.
I agree with you. I have to do the same thing for two of his colleagues, Ben Singer, who I just met a couple of weeks ago
Great guy.
at the country club doing the event for St. Jude. And then years ago, I met Tina Titus Shaw at one of the heart walks that my mom, dad, and I were in. And those two as well, as good as advertised and even better. Actually, I met Chris Allred as well years ago, who used to do the meteorology for WSAV at another, out and about event, and she was a sweetheart as well. Great crew they have over there, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Big fan. So yeah, shout out to them for the opportunity, and always a pleasure to work with Andrew. I've worked with him a number of times over the years now. And BJ Payne's going to be like lobbying to get me and Andrew on the call, because the last game I called with him was the Bluffton Hilton Head game last year when the Seahawks ran him out of the building. So every time I get on the call with Andrew, it seems like a good night for the Seahawks. So fun week 8, guys. Thank you so much. Wes for being the point man tonight and running the show. Did a great job of getting the show off the ground and letting everybody know what was going on. Had all the scores rounded up. We appreciate you. Thanks to everybody who helped us out with information or hit us with comments tonight. We appreciate the interactivity that helps us get found, so the more people can find out what's going on with sports in the Loco, and especially these Friday night broadcasts, Loco Pigskin Live. So thanks everybody for joining in with us tonight. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making it possible, and thanks to you guys for being the best team in the Loco. All these great teams, but you guys are the best team, no doubt.
What can we say,
boys?
What can we
appreciate you, boys. Let's take a weekend to refresh and get back together Monday night for the Loco Sports Lowdown. We'll continue to break down all these results, and we'll have more stats and details then. And we'll also fill you in on what else is happening around the Loco sports scene. I'm off to teacher school in the morning and then coaching some softball in the afternoon. We're all watching some football. Football's great, ain't it? Don't you just love it?
Love it. Saturday. Saturdays are great, and right into NFL Sundays. There's just so much to.
Sundays.
It's a great time to be a Pigskin fan, man. I tell you.
Great time to be a Falcons fan, Max and Rod.
Yeah, baby. Sunday night football too. 49ers on Sunday, man. I'm excited.
That's a fun matchup. Yeah. But my truest love, if I'm being honest, my truest love when it comes to football is that NFL Red Zone. God, it's just such a good concept. I wish there was a college football Red Zone. I know they can't make it work because all the money's spread across so many different networks.
I know, but could you imagine? God,
I would pay good money for it. I would pay straight cash, hard cash for college football Red Zone. Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie.
That's right. You just got mossed. And on that note, we'll be back Monday for the Loco Sports Lowdown. Thanks again to all of our friends for coming to the Sandbox to play. For Marcus Walsh, Max Araj, and Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Till next time, go Loco.